Hi, this is Samantha here from RecipeThis.com and the voice behind the popular Kitchen Gadgets podcast, Magic with Gadgets. Today we are here coming to you from Rose Cottage in Yorkshire, England, to show you just how easy it is to make healthy lunches in the air fryer with air fryer tuna steak with some cherry tomatoes. Well, before we dive into this recipe, I just wanted to suggest that you head over to RecipeThis.com. We've got more than 1,200 kitchen gadget recipes, including recipes for the air fryer, instant pot, slow cooker, soup maker, bread maker, microwave, Ninja Foodie, and many others. We also have a free weekly newsletter, which you can find on the homepage of RecipeThis.com, or you can find it on RecipeThis.com/newsletter. And there you can get our best kitchen gadget recipes sent to your inbox every Friday morning. One of my absolute favourite lunches, and I became obsessed with fresh tuna when I lived in the beautiful Portuguese region of the Algarve, and tuna steaks were readily available from the fish counter, and we used to always air fry them, and eventually we did a recipe on Recipe This. So if you head over to Recipe This and search tuna steak, you'll find this recipe, and then you can easily follow it along at home. So what ingredients do you need, you may be wondering? How simple or complicated are we talking? Well, I should firstly say the inspiration for this recipe actually came from Gordon Ramsay, but I can guarantee it's not as complicated as that. I remember reading in one of his cookbooks, I think he did hake fillets with cherry tomatoes in a skillet. So what we're doing is something similar to tuna steak. So we have 2 tuna steaks, we have cherry tomatoes, and then for seasoning, salt and pepper, oregano, basil and thyme. And then of course it all cooks together in the air fryer, and it's all about simplicity. So first of all, let's sort out your cherry tomatoes. So open up a pack of cherry tomatoes, and then you want to slice them in half. Find it easy to go in at the top, and these are really gorgeous ones. I'm recording these in end of April, and they're just coming into season and getting bigger and better. I'm a huge cherry tomatoes addict. Right, so that's enough for slicing, because what I like to do is I like to slice some and then keep some whole in the air fryer as well. So now you've got a good sized portion there. The thing about tomatoes is they need the salt. So we're using some sea salt there. Pepper. And my favourite ingredient for tomatoes is some dried basil. So if you just want to add some basil to it, and there you've got your cherry tomatoes done. So now you want to put your cherry tomatoes to one side and focus on your tuna. So these are the tuna steaks that we're using. I'll just give you an idea of size. There's a close-up of them, and then you just want to fit them in your air fryer basket. Fortunately, it's Tesco's finest, but you've got little and large there, so it'll be interesting on the cook times to see how little compares to large. I hate it when they do that, when you buy produce and you get one small one and one big one, and you want to cook them together and the cook times never seem to tally. So first of all, pepper on your tuna. Then some salt. And then I recommend some extra seasonings as well. So we're going with oregano and some thyme. Though if you're in Spain or Portugal, instead of thyme, it's tomillo. I learned this years and years ago when I was on holiday in Spain, and I was looking at all the lovely herbs and spices they do, in between buying way too much aioli. So once you've got your tuna in your air fryer basket, it's time to add in the cherry tomatoes. I recommend that you just find some gaps. And then finally, just a quick spray with some extra virgin olive oil. Helps crisp everything off and make it so much nicer. And then I'm just going to quickly wash my hands and then we can put it on. Oh, doesn't that look lovely when it's portioned out in the air fryer? My favourite air fryer size for a family of one to two people is this size, and this is the Philips Air Fryer XL, because it's brilliant for all-in-one dinners, whilst a family of four will always struggle to be able to get a dinner in one go in the air fryer. So if you are a one or two person family, then you're really, really lucky for the air fryer. Yeah. So then you want to set the temperature to 190 Celsius. That's 380 Fahrenheit, and then set the cook time to 7 minutes. Then we're going to keep a close eye on it because obviously we've got different size tunas there, and the tuna size is slightly different to the ones originally posted on recipethis.com. And we've beeped. So let's check on our tuna steak, shall we? Wow. Doesn't that look absolutely fantastic? I love the way that the cherry tomatoes literally pop as they cook in the air fryer. It's one of my favourite foods to air fry, and they really don't take long, and it's just fantastic for an easy lunch, especially for people like myself that work from home. So then you can use whatever you've got to get the tuna out with. I'm filming here from a cottage, so we're not actually at home right now, so we haven't got the normal utensils that we would have at home. We just kind of brought a few things. And then what you also find with this is, like I said, little and large problem is that the smaller one and the bigger one, they'll feel like they've been cooked to different levels. So the smaller one might be slightly over your taste, and the other one will just be cooked. And of course, fish, when it, just like steak, it carries on cooking when it's just sat there. So if you're worried that your tuna steak is slightly under, then just let it rest for a couple of minutes while you're plating up the rest of your food. And those are the cherry tomatoes. I mean, don't they look fantastic? We've become such cherry tomato addicts that you'll also find a separate video on our YouTube channel just where we do cherry tomatoes, because they're just amazing. And of course you can use them in your summer salads as well. And then you've got a lovely selection of tomatoes there with some tuna. I mean, wow, that looks good as a lunch. That really does. And you know, healthy as healthy can get with that. And you can mix and match it. You can add in some peppers. You can add in some green beans instead if you wanted to. And I'm just going to wait for it to cool down a little bit before I tuck in. So now the tuna's had time to cool down, and so's the tomatoes. Let's see what the tuna's like, shall we? I should have got a knife. Never mind. Oh, look at that tuna. Doesn't that tuna look amazing? Oh, totally melts in your mouth. You know, I've grown up on canned tuna, and I had to move to Portugal to try fresh. And I have to say that tuna steaks in the air fryer are absolutely delicious. And cherry tomatoes with basil really do have the wow factor in the air fry, and I highly recommend you try something like this. It doesn't have to be tuna. It can be any white fish. You can do the same with salmon, where you're just pairing it up with a quick cooking vegetable. You know, you can do tomatoes, of course, but other options is things like green beans, asparagus. They all work well in the air fryer, and they're perfect for a quick, healthy lunch. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the Recipe This family. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook and Pinterest. We also have a weekly newsletter at recipethis.com/newsletter, where we share with you our latest kitchen gadget recipes, what we're cooking in the Milner kitchen, and so much more. As well as this, we recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then whenever we have a new video, you will be the first to know. And if you want to know about all our future videos, then I recommend you hit the bell for instant notifications. But even better, we now have a podcast. It's called Magic with Gadgets. Simply search Magic with Gadgets on your favourite podcast player and you'll find us there.